Hey guys, it's Frank from Cruising with Wheels. Welcome back. Are you ready for what's next? You got it, baby. It's another episode of my special edition Tales from the High Seas. We're gonna board the Costa Europa again for part 2. Now, today's story involves my passport and my name, my real name. You're probably wondering, what's he talking about, his real name? Isn't his name Frank? No, it's not. No, it's a variation. Now, for this video, because Kevin always says, don't give out too much information, we're not going to use, and we never use, our real last names. So for the purpose of this video, we will say that my last name is Smith. So, I was known as Frank Smith, but that's not my real name. Now, my best friend Kevin, if you remember from the first episode, he made all the reservations. He made the reservations for the cruise to the Mediterranean. He made the airline reservations. He did everything. Now, it's odd that he didn't realize what my real name was because, you know, as I said before, you know, I made payments to him. I would just write the check and make payments to him. And my real legal name is on my checks. So I'm kind of surprised that he didn't look at that and think, oh, that's the name I should be using when I make the reservations. So, Frank Smith isn't Frank Smith. My real name is Francis Anthony Smith Jr., or at least it was before I married my Kevin. Very long name. My real name is an Italian Sicilian name that no one has ever in my lifetime pronounced correctly. It is written in a way that it doesn't even sound like how it's written, so no one ever gets it right. So, you know, here we go. Francis Anthony Smith Jr., not Frank. So we board the ship, and of course, everything's wonderful. But we get to our first port, our first destination, and we get off the ship and we're roaming around and, you know, I'm assuming we're having a great time. My memory's still a little fuzzy. But the problem occurs when we get back on the ship, or I should say, when I try to get back on board the ship. Now, you know, you queue up in line and you're going up the ramp to get on the ship, and security is there, and they're checking your ID. Now, everything seemed to be checked manually first. So when you start up the ramp, you have to have your passport ready, and you have to have your sail and sign card. And the security guards are standing on the ramp, and each one of you is being checked. And they're checking to make sure that your passport ID matches your sail and sign card from Costa. So I get up there and I'm like flashing my ID. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, hi. You know, good looking security guard. And I'm like, yeah, here's my passport. Yeah, sail and sign card. Check it out. And he immediately goes, and he's an Italian accent, very little English. And he stops me and he says, he looks at it and goes, no, a no match. And I'm like, what? No, that's me. You can see the picture, that's me. Well, you know, my passport says Francis Anthony Smith Jr., but my sail and sign card says Frank Smith. And he thinks that I'm a different person. Okay, and he kept saying,
No match. No match.
and I'm like, no, that is me. That's my name. And I'm trying to explain to him, and he's not understanding because he doesn't have a good grasp of the English language. And I'm saying, no, Frank. Nickname, Francis. Nickname, Frank. And he's giving me such a hard time, and then he's got to call somebody else over. Now, meanwhile, Kevin and Bill and Tom have already breezed through and are kind of standing there waiting. And they're all laughing and snickering, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I am going to kill you. So finally, someone else comes over, and he's going through, and I'm trying to explain that, Frank Smith is Francis Anthony Smith Jr. Frank is just a nickname of Francis, and, he didn't put my full name on it. So I got back on board finally, and of course it was a big laugh and a joke for everybody. But every time we got off the ship in a port, the Canary Islands, Barcelona, Portugal, wherever we went, I tried to get back on the ship, and inevitably, I crossed my fingers and prayed to God that it was I would get the same security guard, that I went up and go, yeah, hi, it's me again. Remember? But sometimes he wouldn't be there, and I would get somebody else, and they would do the same thing. No match, no match, no match. And I'm like, here we go again, and I was like, okay, if anybody of you who are fans of Star Trek, okay, the Star Trek movie, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, and Captain Kirk is down underground, and he's like, yeah, well, that was me, okay? I was like looking at my friend Kevin, thinking,
I'm gonna get you.
Going through this trauma of, trying to get back on board every time. And they're laughing hysterically, busting a gut, and I'm ready to kill them. Now, no one calls me Francis. I'm always known as Frank. My mother, okay, my mother would call me Francis, if she was mad, and then the only other person who ever called me Francis was my ex-wife. If I maybe said something, that was a little salty, I swore in front of the kids, and then I heard,
Francis, watch your language.
and I was like, oh, God, get over yourself. So those were the only two people that ever called me Francis. In school, oh, that was a nightmare growing up. Francis Cologio, and some girl would go,
Hiya, it's me.
and then the next one, Francis Smith, and I was like, oh, God. Yeah, that's me. And everyone would go, his name is Francis. He's like a girl. So I had to grow up with that, my real name versus the name I used. It was a nightmare. Would I name my son Francis Smith III? Oh, hell no. We came up with a totally different name when my son was born. I was not going to put him through that Francis nightmare like I went through. So the name ended there. So that's the name drama. Then we go into the cabin drama. Now, my friend Kevin and I have always been cabin mates. Whether we were on our cruises, we shared a cabin, or whether we were at Cape Cod, we were in Provincetown sharing a room, we were always cabin mates. Now, this time on our Mediterranean cruise, that's not how we booked it. He shared a cabin with Bill. They were cabin mates. And I was cabin mates with Tom. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd because, we always share a room. But, whatever. I don't know why. And I, was like, no big deal. Until I made it through the first night. Then I figured it out. Tom snored loud enough to wake the dead. The dead! Loud enough to shake a continent. I mean, I couldn't sleep at all. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I can't get like 5 minutes of sleep. He was snoring so loud. And I was like, Tom, turn over. Turn over, Tom. And he was like, oh, sorry. And he would try to adjust himself. And then I was like, Tom, put another pillow on you. Prop yourself up. I can't sleep. Yeah, sorry. I was like, so the next day I would get up, that day and every other day, and I was dragging my ass. I was so tired. And I would, get down, and they'd already be down there for breakfast. And I'm dragging myself to get my cup of coffee, and I'm coming to the table, and they're all like, and I'm like, yeah, laugh. I said, I didn't sleep all night. I said, now I know why you put me in the cabin with Tom. Because you didn't want, and Billy, you didn't want to be with him either. So I got stuck with him. Thanks a lot, guys. 2 weeks I didn't sleep. I was exhausted. Now, stupid me apparently didn't figure out that I probably should have gone down to to one of the shops on the ship. And I don't know, maybe buy some earplugs? Well, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. I could have easily have solved the problem, or at least taken the major edge off, by going down and buying earplugs for myself, and drowning out the snoring that was, waking up the dead, or any sea creature that might have been, swimming below the ship in the Mediterranean. It was crazy. Oh my God, it was awful. So that's what went on in the cabin, okay? And then that's what went on for me trying to get back on the ship. It was cuckoo crazy. And I was angry. I'll get back at you guys. Don't you wait, Kevin and Bill and Tom. I'm gonna getcha. So thanks for joining me for part 2 of my Mediterranean cruise aboard the Costa Europa. Stay tuned for part 3. It's coming soon to a theater near you.